Okay, today we are going to learn about long division. Long division is a strategy that we can use to divide numbers. Today, all of the numbers we're going to be focusing on do not have remainders. So I'm going to go ahead and show you an example. So the first one I'm going to show you is 2 divided by 68. So there are certain steps that we follow when we are practicing long division, and they are to divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, and repeat. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So the first thing we're going to do is divide. I always cover up everything except for the first digit first, and I ask myself, 2 times what? Multiply. 2 times what gives me 6? Well, 2 times 3 gives me 6. So I'm going to put my 3 right up here. 2 times 3 gives me 6. So the next step I'm going to use is to subtract. So 2 times 3 is 6. I'm going to subtract 6 from 6, and I get 0. My next step is to bring down. I'm going to bring down the next number, which is 8, and then I repeat the process. Dividing 8 divided by 2. So I ask myself, 2 times what, multiplying, gives me 8? Well, 2 times 4 gives me 8. I subtract 8. I end up with 0. So 34 is my answer. Okay? I'm going to show you another one. I'm going to show you 4 divided by 48. Okay? So my first step is to divide. I'm going to look here. 4 divided by 4. Well, I need to multiply. 4 times what equals 4? 4 times 1. Then I'm subtracting. Take away 4. And that gives me 0. Bring down. I'm going to bring down the 8. And I'm going to repeat the process. Dividing. It's 8 divided by 4. So 4 times what gives me 8? 4 times 2. I'm going to subtract 8, and I'm going to get 0. And I get 12 as my answer. All right, let's go ahead and have you try one on your own. I'm going to make sure the steps are visible and an example so that you have something to look at while you are solving. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to solve 2 divided by 46. Go ahead and solve that using long division now. Okay, here is what we are going to do first. We are going to divide. I'm covering up my 6. I'm going to start there. 2 goes into 4 how many times? 2 times 2 gives me 4. I'm going to subtract 4, and now I have 0. I'm going to bring down the 6. Now I'm asking myself, because I'm dividing 6 divided by 2, so I'm going to multiply. 2 times what gives me 6? 2 times 3 gives me 6. Subtract 6. 0. There's nothing else to bring down, so there's no need to repeat. 23 is my answer. Okay? So I have another one for you. This problem is going to be 2 divided by 78. So this one we solve exactly the same way. We're going to start and ask ourselves, 7 divided by 2. Oh, well, 2 times nothing, it gives me exactly 7. So I have to get as close as possible. Well, there's 2 times 3 gives me 6, and 2 times 4 gives me 8. Okay, so which one do I choose? I choose 2 times 3 because I want to get as close as possible without going over this 7. So I don't want to do 8 because I can't take 8 away from 7. That doesn't work. But I can take 6 away from 7. So 2 times 3 gives me 6. I'm going to drop my 6, or put my 6 there. I'm going to subtract it, and then I have 1 left. My next step is to bring down. So I'm going to bring down the 8. Now I have 18. 2 times what gives me 18? Well, 2 times 9 gives me 18. So I'm going to now subtract 18, and I have 0. And I have 39 as my answer. So you just want to get as close as possible. All right, here is another problem for you to try on your own. 2 divided by 56. Go ahead and try that one on your own. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and ask myself, 2 goes into 5 how many times? Well, that doesn't come out perfect, so I need to ask myself what's the closest I can get without going over. Well, I can do 2 times 2, which gives me 4, and I can subtract 4. That gives me a 1, and then I bring down the 6, and now I have 16. I can repeat now by doing 2 times what gives me 16? Well, 2 times 8 gives me 16. I'm going to subtract 16, and I have 0. 28 is my answer. All right? All right, let's go ahead now and do something a little bit different. Let's go ahead and do 2 divided by 264. So I have some 3-digit here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing. 2 goes into 2 how many times? Well, 2 times 1 gives me 2. So I'm going to put the 2 there, subtract 2, I get 0. Gonna go ahead and bring it down, the 6. 2 times what gives me 6? Well, 2 times 3 gives me 6. Take away 6, I have 0. Now, I have another number to bring down, which means I'm going to repeat the process again. 2 times what gives me 4? 2 times 2, subtract the 4, and then I have 0 left over. And I have 132 as my answer. So I want you to try one on your own. Here is 2 divided by 368. Go ahead and try that one. All right, so 2 goes into 3 how many times? Well, it won't come out perfectly, so I can put a 2 times 1 here. 2 times 1 gives me 2. I'm going to subtract and I have 1. I'm going to bring down the 6. 2 times what gives me 16? 2 times 8. Subtract 0. Now I'm going to bring down the 8. 2 times what equals 8? 2 times 4 gives me 8. And I have 0 left over. 184 is my answer. We're going to try one more, and then we will practice some on our own. Let's do 2 divided by 574. Go ahead and try that one. So 2 goes into 5 2 times, because 2 times 2 gives me 4. I'm going to subtract my 4. I have 1. I'm going to bring down the 7. 2 times what gives me 17? Well, nothing comes out exactly, but I can do 2 times 8 gives me 16. And I have 1, bring down my 4. 2 times what gives me 14? Well, 2 times 7, I have 14. And I end up with 0, 287. So, all you need to remember is these steps. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down and repeat, and you can divide anything you need to.